Hi, class. I'm going to try and go through these very quickly. There are a lot of you, so in order to keep this video short for you to be able to go through it all, I'm going to try and be as concise as I can be. Okay, so John, right away we can see what it is you do, your productions, and looks like you have a sample here. That's really nice. We come into this. I don't know if these are placeholders because they don't relate, so you want to fix that. Also, I will tell you things that maybe someone does in the early stages here on this site, and I won't have to repeat it as we go further. If you find it that this is happening on another site, keep it in mind. If yours is doing this, double check it. But we try not to cut figures in half anywhere, the face and things like that, when they are, part of the message. So it looks like, okay, so a lot of it is laid out very nicely. Looks like there just needs to be a little more time spent, maybe. Let's see. Okay. All right. Probably want, I would think, one more, although this is all right. Bring that up if you need it at all, and I would bring that up a little bit. One of the things we want to do, and you're okay here because you've only got two things here, but this probably should be bigger, the titles for your hierarchy. And we want to, the thing that everybody wants to do is we want to reduce the number of clicks and scrolling, okay? And so you're pretty good. You don't have anything under the scroll, below the scroll. That's good. You might want this to be bigger, especially when you get to your mobile. That's going to really reduce, potentially. Okay. All right, so if you're going to have a blog, make sure that you add something here. If not, disable that. All right? All right, let's move on. Okay. Looks great. The image is good. Might want to be a little smaller, not much. I'd like to see it fit like this, but we've got your banner here, so that's what I'm thinking about. Although, honestly, it's great. If I select this, it should go to your About page. Okay. The only thing about having the same photo, you guys, on a page at the top is that sometimes users, when they come to your site, they're not sure that they're kind of pause for a second and make sure that they've changed pages because they're not really sure. So keep that in mind. Let's left align this, and that's probably going to be true for everyone. It's just the right amount. Okay. All right. Okay. Nice. Okay. So your gutters are nice and even here. Let's see. Yeah. What you can do, now this works really well, this works well, so does this. Be careful when you have words covering up other words. You might have to change the thumbnails in order to do that, or relocate the text, or remove this. And this works. It's a really good idea. Everyone needs to be very conscious of the thumbnails that they're putting in here. How text is cut off, how it's overlapped, those things. This works fine, and it gives a clue and helps support your brand here. So that's the thing that you want to think about when we put something in this. Maybe you can find a better thumbnail for that, right? Because it's overlapping here. It's not a compelling photo. It's a well-known, logo, but it's not really drawing us in that much. So, and same with this, you know, visuals are very important at this place. If I select this, then yeah, we go to this. You might really like a book called An Uncertain Grace. It's really a great book on photography that reminds me a lot of this. It's called An Uncertain Grace. So yeah, but it all is working really well. Just some tweaks to really push it over and make it better, right? But otherwise, it's looking really good. Okay. All right. Making sure they know exactly what your role is and what they're booking you for. Marketing. Okay. These, you know, you're going to work on having the alignment a little better if you're going to pull these up from your blog or however you're laying these out. All right. Otherwise, great job. Content looks really good. The overall brand looks great. All right. Good job. Okay, Becky. We probably want to get into your page a little sooner. Which means, you know, taking out some space somewhere, maybe putting this on one line, if it even has to be reduced, perhaps. Okay. Just go ahead and put cinematographer / directing / editing and build your skills. Okay. All right, same thing here. Being careful where your titles land, okay, so that we're not overlapping a lot of text. It's just visually distracting. So I think your Instagram probably wants to be perhaps a link here, right? And you do have that. This is working okay. A little hard to read here, you know, but it wouldn't read any other color but white here. Okay, address, you probably want to take that off. Most people aren't going to want to share their address, and that's for everybody. Keep that in mind, double check that. Okay. I'd possibly lead in with this image rather than this one, but, and you've got to be careful here because you could have some intellectual property issues here. You might have to phase that out. Also your Sony. And you're in the DCBS program, I'm assuming. So I know that you've had some experience with copyright and filming. Okay. All right. All in all, I just would kind of work on your front page here. Okay. It's a little choppy, a lot of layers of text, the hierarchy. Just, you know, try and eliminate so many lines and some of the space. All right. Good job. Okay. Looking good. All right. Try not to have one word here. It's a detail and it might reflow when you change your screen size. Don't know. Looks really good. Okay. Might want a little bit of a distinction between your title here, right? A little more hierarchy, distinction. Maybe a little less space here. Yeah. So that This maybe you want to make this just a little bit smaller if you can. I want to push buttons and I'm wondering what will happen. Okay, so this is your mock-up. Okay, what people say. Okay. Nice. Okay. This disappears a little bit. I'm just wondering if you want this aligned with this or the same color. I don't know. Something to keep in mind. Just detailing now because the site's really great. It's looking very strong. Okay. So press and testimonials, not sure you need a whole page for that. I'm not sure. Okay. Very cool. All right. Okay. Yeah. This has a very flat look. This not so much. And you might put the same image there. I don't know. You know? I think that's the thing you're going to need to watch is that just make sure that your styles at this stage are really close because we've got a real light outline here and a little thicker here. But overall, it looks great. Your homepage looks fantastic, right? Love this, right? Great job. Okay. Come back to that one. Okay, Joseph. Nice. Everything's right here. You tell us exactly what you do. That's nice. This color blue, not crazy about. I think it could be something else. Some people think that you need to have everything consistent, and sometimes you do as far as uppercase, lowercase, but I think this could be all uppercase and be fine because it's your homepage. Match with this. I don't know. Just thinking maybe try it out. If it doesn't work, fine. We need to be able to see what that is, I think, before we roll on it. Play around with this blue. Maybe it needs to be a lighter shade of the this deeper green blue. Okay. I think if you're going to put this everywhere, I think maybe it should be maybe not have the same opacity on every page. Okay, because it's starting to look like a sticker and becomes a little distracting. In fact, this whole page would look great even if this wasn't here. I know you need to have it there because it's your logo, although this looks a lot like your logo. I would think about where else you could put that and think about the opacity. You know, maybe it's there, but it's just starting to, and it's moving around. It's starting to look like a label and less integrated. This font, if you can change that, I think you're going to be better off. Maybe make it something closer to this. Okay, everybody, you want to check this out. Really common mistake, and that is that this is upper lowercase, and then when we go here, it's all uppercase, and this is all uppercase. So, and this is all uppercase. So we want to be careful about that. And again, this just looks like a label, like a hello nameplate. So be careful with that. But otherwise, it's looking really good. The contrast is great here. All right, so then the thing that you're going to do, let's see your narrative. Okay. And same thing with you. You're going to want a thumbnail. This one's kind of compelling, but this one not so much. You're going to want a thumbnail that really interests us. This needs to be moved down here or down here. Okay. Try and get into this sooner. Like, this looks great, right? This, not so much there. We want to get into what we promised them is going to be there, and that's the contact, all right? But it's really looking good, all right? Good job. And we have a password for that one. And that one. Okay. Nice. Photography and videography, so I get that. These aren't covering anything up, so they're okay. Okay. This is a nice shot. I hope it's yours. Good. Okay. Okay. Very cool. So these work pretty well. That certainly works. You know, that's their time code you're going to have, or the time. Okay. You might be able to bring these up just a little. Be careful where these land, you know, on people's faces. That's for everybody. That too. The play video would work. The events isn't working as well here over this. Okay, otherwise you've got them labeled really nicely. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. As long as all of your other work is really sharp, you can get away with having, you know, a grainier look, because the grayscale is good. You know, it has some depth. It's got, you know, a lot to it, but for the most part, most people are going to make sure that if you are promoting film work, that everything you do is well composed, the lighting is good, and in focus. Those are the absolute minimum. But I think here it is definitely, compared to your other work, I think it was something you chose to do. It may be that the resolution is better when it's smaller, but I think it's working out. The grayscales are working out pretty well. All right, good job. Make sure that all these things are consistent as you go through. On one of the pages before, I saw that you had a word by itself on a line. Make sure you reflow those things, everybody, so that those don't sit by themselves on a line, a single word. Okay, looking good. Okay, okay. All right. Great colors. Okay, so you're going to need to, if you're going to have a blog post here, it has to be your stuff. So next time everybody turns anything in, your blogs need to have your original text. We can't have placeholder text or images. All right, that's everybody, because this is your portfolio. And that's something that is a priority to you. And at this stage, by the time you submit it again, everything should be original. If you are not going to have a blog, just disable the page. All these would be products that are entered or deleted. Okay, take that off. All right. Now I'm wondering if this is your image, or maybe it's just a template, something that you want to work on. It's okay to use images from Unsplash and things like that. The danger is when you use a Wix image from a template, it's being used a number of times and people see it and get used to it. So that's the only thing. Make sure that, and this may be yours. If it's not, you can always duplicate things like this and take a lot of photos for yourself like that. But I'm hoping it's yours. Just not sure, because these things are kind of leading me astray. This goes to your Facebook. That's awesome. And you'll probably want your Instagram and your other, at least your Instagram. Okay. All right. The contact is here, but I don't have it up here. So we really need to replace some of these things with only the essentials that you need, and only things that are going to really highlight you and your work. All right. That's for everybody. If it isn't doing that, you don't need it. Okay. All right. Okay. Make sure you change the date down here, Ebony. This is great. Probably I would change these so that they're looking into the page instead of away from each other. Flop those. Maybe put this in the middle, but you need to have these. I know it's, the way you've got your border here that's black, but we need to have these things the same depth, right? So whatever you have to do to make sure that they align at the top and the bottom. Same here, align, and make sure that the spacing is the same. You might want a little more spacing. This is hard to see, and so I don't know, consider putting it in the middle and see what happens. Maybe not, but it's getting a little lost. Again, alignment is what you are looking for here. This is a powerful image. Anytime someone's looking straight at the camera, that can be really powerful. And this is a great grayscale. So if this is yours, I would bring it up and trade one of these. This picture is really yellow. So without correcting it and color grading it, I would probably, compared to one another, I would probably move those. Also keep in mind, people are drawn to interesting faces and happy faces. I'm not saying that they should all be happy, absolutely not, but your best work needs to be on the top. That would be this one, as far as your thumbnail image. This one, maybe that one, maybe this one, maybe even that one, or yeah. So play around with that, get your best work at the top. Okay, this is working. Okay. All right. Good job. Okay. I feel like we took a shift here. I feel like the text, I don't even know if we have text anywhere else. Here we do. Okay, just want to make sure we're consistent and consistent with your brand. This is a great profile shot. It's really nice. Try and make sure that the images that are above here, and I think those do, kind of work with your about page also. So the ones that we picked out probably would. All right. Okay. All right. Good job. All right. Nice. Okay. You want to be careful here. Your drop down is covering up your header there, so we don't want to do that. Good. Doing this here especially, which means you might have to rearrange some things. Okay. Okay. Nice. Let's trim this to where it aligns. This can be where it is, but this needs to finish right here. All right. And you guys, whoever took these photos, go ahead and give them a citation or give them a credit line and link to their pages if they have a website and are a photographer. All right. You will probably want to add a little space between these, break them up a little bit. Maybe just one space and edit to here. If you need to, you can do two, but it's a great shot. Colors are working. It's all working, except for these drop downs. This isn't high enough contrast, especially when you get to mobile. Some of these things are going to be a little harder to read, and anybody with low vision is going to have trouble with this. All right. All right, but otherwise it's very consistent. Now this is moved down. This overlapping is a little, it's okay, but could be easier to read. This is clearing it, but now we're jumping up here and putting it someplace else. So this is a better location for your headers. It's just not working everywhere. And make sure they're aligned though. All right. Good job. Okay, leaning elm. I think we could get a little bigger on this, and I think we want to switch this up. I think you want what you do to be a little more in the forefront, and your navigation to be, up here. And if you put white up here, at least on this page, it's going to show up well with the contrast. Okay, your link to your sites. Because as it is, you've got, two navigations. So you want to clean that up. That logo was hard to read on the front page. The film was difficult to see. Okay, all right. Okay, make sure you have the same amount of spacing here. One word, not by itself. I would edit this down to where it's the same number of lines. And it looked like it moved just down a little bit. Okay. Try and be consistent with the number of rows, lines that you have there. We've got this here. We don't need that there. You might not want to have a parallax scrolling. Sometimes it can be distracting without just the right image. Okay, I think you're going to want to bring this up a little bit, left align this, and consider putting it in two paragraphs and reduce this down a little bit to about here. Okay, and that way this will clear and it'll be sharper and it'll align better with this. So make sure that's left aligned. And let's bring it up a little more. Okay. Okay, so everybody make sure, we want to get into this a little quicker. This gets lost in contrast. Let's make sure that our headers are the same fonts. So you have an outline on this, I think. Maybe not. Okay. All right. If possible, try and keep these the same color. Your headers the same color, same upper lowercase or uppercase. All right. Good job. All right. Okay. Here's a real important thing. I see this a lot. So I hope everybody's listening at this, still at this. So at this point, because you are a student, you don't necessarily have to have a disclaimer for this particular site. Okay. Because this is your actual portfolio site, as best I can tell. So you can take that disclaimer off because this is your actual site. Okay. And let's see, this needs to be created as an SVG, a scalable vector graphic, which is an Illustrator file so that it has vertices that can be sized and will be clear at any size. Okay. If you do not have one, you may, and if this is a Photoshop, for example, you're going to have to go in and clean that, or you can just take it into Illustrator and, make it a vector. Okay, but that's what's going to have to happen. And you'll be glad you did because you'll use it everywhere. But you have to have that. This font works well. Let's see. It's pretty tight going off the edge, but, Not sure you want these to be different texts quite so much. I'm not sure those fit well together. Try going to fontjoy.com and see about some combinations and see what you like. A quote can be italic. I don't like a lot of italics everywhere, but a quote can be. So you might think about that if you need something. Okay, if you're not going to have a blog, disable this. Blogs are a good way to get people to come to your site. You can put keywords and things that they will be finding through search engines and things. Okay, so we've got way too much space up here and scrolling before we get to what we've promised them on this page, all right? Less space here. It's good that these are aligned. I'm all for white space, but we've got to find it in another way. Okay, so bring all these things up. Okay, contact is in a different place than portfolio. Portfolio is higher. Make sure you bring them all up. Let's not put that in front of his eyes, right? Okay, these are all the next things that everyone's going to be thinking about. And when you're choosing your images, you think about it too, where that's going to fall, and you'll get to where you do that. Okay. You talk about LinkedIn. Let's make sure you have a link to LinkedIn here. Okay. And so you want those to go to your sites. Looks like a different font here, different treatment. And here, suddenly. Okay. Okay. These are the same, but this is different. Maybe just that it's bold, but I think it's different. Okay. Again, alignment. Okay, you're going to probably stack these differently to where they make a nice block and have the same amount of spacing. All right? All right. Good job. All right. Love is her magic. Heard that. I feel like, well, it's okay. A little hard to read that when you start to look at your mobile. That could get really tough to read. You might have to one day go in and just clean out these a little bit, get that a little thinner so that it's easier to reduce. Because when you reduce this on a business card, for example, these are going to close up. All right. Okay. Let me see. Okay. If this is a real shirt, that's one thing, but I don't think it is. So I would take off the outline on this. Make it a deeper purple if you have to. Okay. Try not to have one word by itself. This looks nice at this size. Make sure it works when you reduce it. And that's something you're going to have to think about. You can also go to fontjoy.com if you need to find another font. I'm sure you worked hard to find this, and it does look good. This looks different, however. Maybe it's just italic. It's just italic. I think. No, it's not just italic. It's a different font. So think about that. How many fonts you can actually get away with. Usually it's just 2. You've got a few on this page. Okay. This pink is going to be difficult to read over the tan. So you might want to work on that. This might disappear too. It's a little faint. And I tell you, there's a site you can go to. I should post that for you where you can see what your site looks like for colorblind. And sometimes things drop out completely. And so that's something you need to think about too. Low vision, color blindness, and screen readers are things we want to think about. You may not need the login. I don't know. Maybe you do. Think about that. Okay. I think you could get a better brand, maybe just white. Okay. A large white, maybe. We are limited with the colors that we can use for Twitter and Facebook icons because they have, a branding guide. You can Google that and it will give you the icons that you can use, and tell you what you can't use. Okay. Okay, Rochelle. I'm a little confused when I land. I understand this is, social media, but this is looking like an ad a little bit. So I think you're going to need a little bit of a banner or something to separate this for us, make it really sharp. When it moves, it's a little distracting, and I just think you're going to need to work this out a little bit. All right. I think if you're going to do this, the alignment's going to matter, and I think you're going to need some spacing and make it smaller, not take up the whole block. That's just my sense of that. But I do think you're going to need a banner, okay, to help explain some things. All right. And if this is just a one page, where does this take me? Okay. All right. Okay. I think I want to see an about page, right? I want to see this somewhere. I want to see an about page. And this is much clearer, This tells me a lot more about what's going on, although this is kind of aligned oddly. So that probably needs to come up here and look like it's separate or, be aligned correctly. All right. So I think everybody wants to make sure you don't monetize for sake of credibility. Very nice. See, I think this is a great photo and I want to see it. It really works with your brand. So I want to see an about page, and I think I want to see a navigation on your first page. This is nice. All right. All right. Okay, everybody. These are great starts. If I didn't go over yours, I will add those when I get when I go back and check your passwords for that. Okay. So, otherwise, make sure you implement these by the next time you submit, and continue to check through Grammarly the spelling of those things, your works that you're posting. That's really important for you. And I look forward to seeing all of these. Good job.